Hello everyone, Quick Flicks with you. You are on the Quick Flicks channel, and today we are going to look at a woman with her mouth cut open. The film tells a famous Japanese urban legend about the spirit of a woman with dark hair in a long coat and a surgical mask covering the lower part of her face. She preys on children and kills her victims with big scissors. The action of the film begins with an earthquake destroying an old closet in an abandoned house in which the body of Kuchisake-onna was buried, which allows the vengeful spirit to escape to freedom. At this moment, a local elementary school teacher, Noboru Matsusaki, hears a familiar voice constantly repeating the same phrase. Immediately, the essence of a medical mask appears on the playground and kidnaps the boy in front of friends. This news immediately spread throughout the city, and the authorities oblige teachers to accompany students to their homes or to the designated meeting place with their parents. A colleague of the set and part-time main character Kei-yoku responsibly performs her duties, but one of the students, named Mika, refuses to go to her mother because of domestic violence. Then, Kei-yoku asks the girl away from her mother and decides to take a walk with her. During the dialogue, Mika says that she hates her mother, and this reminds Yoke of the problems with her own daughter. She lives with her father and does not communicate with Kei-yoku because of the conflict. Suddenly, Noboru hears the same voice again, and a woman with scissors appears next to Kei-yoku and Mika. The girl manages to pull off her mask, and we see a terrible disfigured face with a slit mouth. Kei-yoku gets scared and falls into a daze, and the woman just leaves, taking Mika with her. The police launch an investigation, interviewing anyone who has recently seen something suspicious. They also notice that one woman, a mother of 2 children, does not feel well and constantly coughs. Yoku returns to school and is approached by Noboru, showing a photo from 30 years ago in which she recognizes the woman who kidnapped Mika. Noboru tells that this is his deceased mother. She was insane and very ill, which is why she constantly beat his brother and sister. And then they all disappeared, and he was left alone, after which he ended up in a boarding school. It was there that he first heard rumors about a strange masked woman who kidnaps and kills children, and immediately realized that this was his mother. Since then, he regularly hears her voice at the time of the abduction of children. Their conversation is interrupted by the same voice. The dial understands where it sounds from, and teachers immediately rush to the aid of their student. At his house, they meet the woman with scissors, and Kei-yoku kills her. But the spell is broken, and they see the corpse of the very sick woman. Then the teachers understand that the spirit inhabits the bodies of the parents, and this can be understood by the painful condition and cough. At the same time, Miki's classmates walk around the park with their mother, where, according to rumors, Kuchisake-onna lives. Suddenly, the woman starts coughing and becomes subject to the evil spirit. She kidnaps her own daughter and takes her to the basement of a house destroyed by an earthquake. There she also has Mika and a boy abducted from the playground. Having gathered 3 children together, she cuts the girl's mouth to make her look like herself and lets go and kills the boy. A moment later, she leaves alone in the basement and leaves. To Yoke and Seth, they look through the information about Kuchisake and find a note saying that the ghost's hideout is an abandoned house with a red roof, the description of which corresponds to Seth's childhood home. And then he remembers how it really was. His mother killed his brother and sister, and then tried to force Noboru to get rid of her herself, explaining that she was possessed, and if he didn't, she would come back and haunt others. The woman asked to cut her throat, but the boy got scared and accidentally disfigured her face and then stabbed her in the stomach several times. In order to not look at his mother's mutilated body, he covered her face with a mask and threw a coat over her body. Then he hid the corpse in the closet, where the evil was contained until the earthquake destroyed most of the house. Toyoke and Seth immediately go to the house with a red roof and find Mika in the basement, but the evil entity does not let them go. She severely injures Noboru, and Toyoku loses consciousness. At this moment, Mika's mother arrives at the house, and a woman with a cut mouth wounds her with scissors. But the recovered Yoko kills the essence. However, the spell is broken again, and the corpse of a woman from the park turns out to be on the floor, and an evil spirit takes possession of the body of Miki's mother. Then Noboru, having gathered his last strength, hears the familiar phrase again. And finally, he kills her the way she asked. At this moment, an earthquake begins, and the house begins to collapse. The Seth stays in the basement, but Yoke and Mika manage to get out and survive. After some time, Yoke finally comes to visit his daughter. But during the conversation, she starts coughing and turns into a woman with her mouth cut open, which means the curse is not destroyed. Friends, thank you all for watching. Subscribe and don't forget to comment. See you later.